Alright everybody, it's been a while. I know the videos have been slow lately, but we're going to try to get into a groove where I make the videos on the weekend and edit them during the week, so that way I can have a little bit more consistent upload. It's a little stormy outside, but want to get this washed up because I'm going to install the backup camera, and then I'm probably going to put it away in storage so I can start on the blue BMW. So figured I'd do a wash and talk with you guys before I do the last couple videos with it before we put it away. And then you know there's a lot of craziness going on in the market, so we'll talk about that, but let's get started. So yeah, if you've been following this build, you know that I bought this with a blown motor. One of the last few things I have to do on this car is install the backup camera, and then I want to put the new rims that I bought for this, but we'll probably wait on that. I want to get started on the blue car and get the new turbos in there and refresh everything in there before I go too much further into this one. So these will kind of be the last few videos that we do on this for a while, and then we'll probably just have wash and talks and the blue car. So the plan with the blue car is to do something similar to this, where we go ahead and do all the necessary maintenance, so walnut blast, do all the gaskets and seals, and then we'll put the new turbos on. I haven't decided if I'm going to go pure turbos or if I'm just going to do the same turbos that I did on this car. I really like how well balanced the turbos are on this car. They drive really well, they boost really well, and it's not overly aggressive where you can't daily this car if you wanted to, so I kind of like that balance. For those of you that have been watching for a while, you know that I've been trying to buy my first BMW back from the person who owns it now, and we're getting pretty close to a deal now that the markets have kind of cooled down. Their pricing has become a lot more reasonable, so I'm kind of thinking of pulling the trigger on that. Not that I have a ton of bandwidth to work on it right now, but just to put it in the queue, because it is a car that I want to buy and restore, so I might as well, before they end up selling it to somebody else and then I lose track of it. So we might see that as an addition to the channel, and I know Julie's been itching for a new car, so we'll see how that goes. But for now, my goal is to get started on the blue car. I really want to see that car back to its glory. It needs a lot of work, and it deserves it. So let's move on to the next tire. So I guess I'll kind of address the elephant in the room. I know a lot of people are talking about how the markets are crashing. Tesla stock is down, Bitcoin's down. I mean, the whole market is down, and it seems that residential real estate rentals are staying strong through all of this, though. So, I mean, the properties that we're renting are renting right away, and we're getting solid rents. Like, rents aren't decreasing. So it seems like that's been a very viable investment to kind of create cash flow and some stability in your life during all these uncertain times in these markets, which I guess it makes a lot of sense. Like, a lot of these buyers that were originally looking to buy when there was a buying frenzy at 3% interest rates are no longer able to buy with interest rates at 6 and above, so they're looking to rent. And so a lot of those people are well qualified renters and have the money, but may not qualify with the new interest rates. And so now, as investors, we're able to go buy those properties, likely at a bigger discount now that everybody's fearful and think that the market's going to crash. So we can get bigger discounts, increasing our cash flow, and rent the homes to the people that would have bought them that can no longer buy them. So it sucks for those people that are getting priced out with the increase in interest rates, but for me, it's a big opportunity. So we're seeing inventory on the market increase every week by almost 10%. A few months ago, there was, I think, like 2,800 listings in the Phoenix metro area, and now there's over 12,000. So, as inventory, I mean, even at 12,000, it's still a strong buyer's market, but it looks like it's continuing to go up. So we're not blowing our load completely right now, We're just buying the stuff that's really good deals. But I think as inventory continues to rise, or if inventory starts to level off, then, you know, we can start buying more aggressively. But I know a lot of people are like, oh, like Bitcoin's never going to go back up, and, you know, this and that. And it's like, one, if you're worried about where Bitcoin is at price-wise, then you're probably not as well capitalized as you should have been when you invested in Bitcoin. When I bought in Bitcoin, it was at like $14,000 a coin. I've bought and sold, you know, since then, but I've kept, you know, my main investment. And the reason why I bought Bitcoin was to convert United States dollars to Bitcoin. It wasn't like the value of US dollars in Bitcoin is irrelevant, because I'm transferring the money into Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin goes to 150,000, the goal isn't to sell it and turn it back into US dollars. The goal is to have money in Bitcoin, because I believe in Bitcoin, and I think everybody is going to want Bitcoin in the future. So if you think like, oh, I should have sold that 60,000, you know, or 50,000 before a crash, it's like, well, that defeats the whole purpose of buying Bitcoin, because the purpose of buying Bitcoin is to convert US dollars to Bitcoin. And if you're not well capitalized enough and you don't have enough reserves, you know, to be able to take that money and transfer it into Bitcoin and leave it there for good, then you're either just a day trader, and that's, you know, a whole completely different animal than what I'm doing, or you didn't have enough capital and you over leveraged yourself. Because I rarely ever check Bitcoin. Like I said, I wanted to convert US dollars to Bitcoin, and that's what I did, and I'm letting it ride. And if you think that Bitcoin's never going to come back, I'm not saying it's going to come back to higher prices tomorrow, but in the next few years, all these people that are bashing Bitcoin and missing the opportunity to buy more Bitcoin right now are going to regret it in a few years. Like in 2 or 3 years, there's no question that these people are going to regret it. So as Bitcoin continues to drop, I continue to add more money into it. I mean, if you look back a few months ago, you know, when Bitcoin was at 50,000, you would have easily bought it for 20,000. And so just now, because people are willing to sell their Bitcoin for 20,000 or 19,000, you're no longer willing to buy it. But a few months ago, you saw the value. So I think the value is still there. So as these people continue to offload their Bitcoin, I'll buy it from them. I don't know how low it's going to go. I don't really care. The lower it goes, the more I'll buy, and hang on to it. And, you know, in the meantime, we'll buy cash flowing assets in real estate, and, you know, continue to work that way. But I mean, the recession's here. Who knows how long it'll last or how deep it'll go. But I mean, as long as you have enough capital to take advantage of the recession, then it's not really something that you should worry about, especially if you're young. Like, this is where you can build your career and build your wealth. So a lot of people seem concerned and stressed out, but I just find it to be a big opportunity, and I'm kind of enjoying watching this shift and seeing how I can, you know, take advantage of it and continue to improve. So let's move on to the other side. But yeah, most of the people that bash Bitcoin and are like happy to see Bitcoin going down really don't have anything to show for themselves. Like, most of the time, like, those people aren't saying like, oh, like, why are you investing in Bitcoin when you can be investing in this? They're just like, oh, Bitcoin's going to zero. Bitcoin's stupid. Why would you invest in Bitcoin? You're going broke. It's like, I put $50,000 into Bitcoin when it was $14,000 a coin. So even if I sold it today and you know, cut bait, I would still be in a profit. Nonetheless, like, it's $50,000. People think this is like my life savings, and I'm relying on Bitcoin to like survive. And if Bitcoin doesn't go to $60,000, I'm not going to be able to survive. It's like, if Bitcoin goes to zero, like I'm fine. And that's how you should invest. Like, you shouldn't invest where, like, if the investment doesn't work out, then you're screwed. And, you know, because then you're just gambling. You're like, if you really believe in something and you go all in on it and it doesn't work out, then, you know, that's your problem. But realistically, like, the only thing that I would go all in on that would, you know, leave me stranded is real estate. And, you know, a lot of people think that real estate is crashing or it's going to crash. And don't get me wrong, I don't see prices going crazy and going up in the short term. I think in the long term, I think homes are only going to get more expensive, and the people that are whining and complaining that the market's going to crash and, they're not going to buy and they're waiting to buy. Those same people are going to be complaining in 2-3 years when they're like, well, they rose interest rates on us and we couldn't buy, and now houses are even more expensive and we can't afford them. It's like, well, be a little bit more smart with your money so you can buy when the time is right. Like, I think all right now is a buying opportunity. I think all the fear in the marketplace and all these people that think real estate's going to crash, all those people are giving us an opportunity to buy real estate at a discount. And so I'm happy to do it and take the risk as long as I can get my cash flow. We likely won't be flipping homes as much, just because in a market like this, that's way more risky. So most of the stuff that we're buying, we're going to just lightly remodel and rent out, which for me is way less work than doing the flips. The flips, when the market is crazy, you make a ton of money, but it's so much work. Even with a team in place, it's still just a lot to manage, just because the turnover is so quick. And so I would much rather, just buy and hold. So that's what we're going to focus on. And as, inventory levels off, whether it levels off at, 15,000 units on the market or 30,000 units on the market, either way, there's so much fear in the market that it's going to create such a great opportunity. And so I just think it's going to get hard for a lot of these investors that don't really know what they're doing, or a lot of these, just phonies out there. So, as long as you're well capitalized right now, this is nothing but an opportunity, in my opinion. So if you have extra capital, deploy it, slowly. Don't go all in one go, because if Bitcoin continues to drop and you blow $20,000 or $30,000 at 20,000 and that's all you got, then, it's going to be hard for you to weather the storm. But, if you drop in 5 at 19 and it goes to 17, you drop in 5 more, and it goes to 14, you drop in 5 more, and you kind of dollar cost average all the way down, eventually it's going to start swinging up, and you'll be glad that, oh shit, even though I bought at 19 and it dropped down to 14, now it's at 80, so I'm happy I bought the Bitcoin at 19. So investing is patience, and a lot of people have lost sight of that just because the last couple of years since COVID have been crazy. People have been making quick cash, and now that they can't make quick cash and their properties aren't getting 10 offers in the first day, they think that the market's crashing, when it's like, it's normal for a house to sit on the market for 2 or 3 weeks. Like, if you price it right and it sells in the first 30 days, that's a normal market. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, the market shouldn't be where you get 40 offers in the first day. Obviously, that's way more cool and easier to make money in a market like that. But just because that's not happening doesn't mean the market is crashing. And so I don't think people understand that. Let's do this last wheel and get this car wrenched off. And so if you're in real estate, like say you're a real estate agent or you're a real estate investor or whatever it is, and you're nervous about your future and your income, just realize that, like, if the market goes down or the market goes up, there's always money for real estate agents and real estate investors to make money. The only time that we can't make money is when the markets freeze. Like, if there's, a credit freeze and people stop buying and selling completely, whether they're selling for a profit or selling for a loss, then you're in trouble, because there's just no movement in the market, and you can't make money when there's no movement. So it's situations like that where you hope to have some cash flowing assets to, get you through those times. Usually those times are very short lived. They don't last long. They might last a few months or a few weeks, but usually not more than a year for sure. So if you made a lot of money in the last 2-3 years, and the next year things get really rough, well, you live off of the money that you made in the last 2 or 3 years where things were crazy, and you work to find a new strategy and live off of your cash flow while you figure out a new strategy for the new market. So as long as the market doesn't freeze, I don't really get too nervous, because when I started in real estate back in 2013, it was kind of the tail end of the depressed market, but I got to see what it was kind of like to do short sales and REOs and stuff like that. So I kind of have a grasp on how to do that stuff. Although I do think if the market were to crash like crazy, I don't think the short sale and REO game would be the same this time around. I think it'd be a lot different. Yeah, if you're a real estate agent, don't worry too much. Just know that you're gonna have to do some stuff that you normally don't do to get business and get deals done. So, if you're not used to cold calling or you're not used to prospecting and finding deals like that, and you work off of referrals and stuff, I think it's going to be a tough time for you, because I think the retail market is the one that's going to get hit the most. I think the investor market will stay pretty strong, considering that rentals aren't slowing down much. So I think investors will continue to move in the market, but I think retail will slow down. So if your business is mostly referrals and stuff like that, you're going to want to start implementing prospecting techniques and stuff like that, so you can stay afloat as the market changes. And just make sure that you're not over leveraged. Keep some reserves, put more down on properties that you're buying. Don't take the 90% leverage, do 75, 70, so you can cash flow a little bit more in case things drop down. And stop stressing about the stuff that's out of your control. Everybody's stressing out, like the market's crashing, this and that. And it's like, well, there's nothing you can do other than control your mindset and your effort. So keep your mind in the right spot and figure out, what action you need to take to overcome it and create opportunity out of it. But I know for me, I've never really had a really depressed market. Back in 2014, it was a pretty strong buyer's market for like 6 months, and then ever since then, it's always been a strong seller's market. So, like I said, it's just an opportunity. If you're well capitalized, you're not over leveraged, your career can be made in the next couple of years as things slow down. While a lot of people are going to flee the business, and you're going to make a bigger business out of it. So that's my goal, that's my plan, and I'm continuing every day to kind of learn what's happening and just stay cool. So I'm not really buying too much into the TikTok hype of the world's ending and stuff like that. I know we're pretty much in a recession already. The numbers are going to come out and show that, but I don't think it's going to be the same gameplay as last time. So I'm just prepared to find new techniques and new opportunities. But let's get this rinsed off and washed. So yeah, most people are going to look at a recession as like something bad, but that's where I said, like, the only two things that you can control are your mindset and your action. So if your mindset is that an opportunity is coming, instead of the world is ending, your brain's going to get excited, and you're going to start focusing on how to make it an opportunity instead of how am I going to survive the world ending. If you have to, you might have to stay off of TikTok, because sometimes I scroll through TikTok and I'm just like, Jesus Christ. Like, everybody really does think the world's ending. And even if there is just a crazy recession and home prices tank and stocks continue to tank and Bitcoin goes to zero, it's like, well, people still make money during those times. So why not be one of the people that make money? I don't know. I just have a hard time buying into the craze and the stress. I just look at all the real estate agents and investors that, when the market was at its darkest point, were being the most aggressive, and the general public was running. Like, when I was getting into real estate in 2013, everybody was like trying to talk me out of it, which, like, hindsight's 2020, but looking back, 2013, there was like literally no better time to get into real estate other than 2012 and 2011. A big part of my success is just my timing of the market. Like, I was able to get into the market at such a great time at a young age, where I didn't have a lot of expenses. I didn't have a huge family that I needed to support. So I was able to take every penny and invest it back into myself and my business and real estate. So right now, everybody's saying, oh, the market's going to crash, it's terrible. I just get that same feeling in my gut where I'm like, there's a huge opportunity out there I'm going to figure it out. I'm already figuring it out. And that a lot relates back to just like my confidence in myself and everything I've learned and accomplished over the last couple of years. I mean 10 years. People think it annoys me to like point out Bitcoin crashing or Tesla crashing. It's like, unless you have a better idea on what I should have done or what I should be doing, then I don't really care. If Bitcoin was at 100,000 a coin, I wouldn't be selling. So it doesn't matter if it's at 20 or 70,000, I'm not selling. I have no use for the money other than to invest it. So, all right, I'm going to get this rinsed off, and then that's pretty much it. I got to move a bunch of cars around, and I'm going to put the backup cam in this car. So that's kind of the end of this one. So I know it's a little bit shorter than my usual ones, but thanks for watching. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, drop a like on the video, and I'll see you guys on the next one.